Hi, welcome to Live on KEXP at Home. I'm your host, DJ Morgan from listener-powered independent 90.3 FM KEXP in Seattle. We stream online all over the world at kexp.org as well and on our mobile apps. And we are so happy to continue to connect you with live music as we remain socially distant and working from home as much as possible. And all of this is made possible with your support. So thank you so much for supporting KEXP. And I'm so happy to be joined today by Aaron Frazer. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm in my attic in my place in Brooklyn.
Nice. We are in very different time zones right now. How have you been doing?
I've been doing well. I've been working really hard, staying super busy between this record coming out and then also working on a new record for my band, Durand Jones and the Indications, which is almost wrapped up. So there's been a lot on my plate, but it's a blessing to be busy right now.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to hear that you're making new music with Durand Jones and the Indications as well. We were so happy to have you in our live studio with them last time back in 2019. So hopefully we'll be seeing you all again soon. But huge congrats on your new solo record, Introducing, that just came out last month on January 8th. I told you this before we started this session, but it is my favorite album of the year so far.
That's amazing. Thank you.
I'm honestly really looking forward to summer because I feel like this record would be just so killer to listen to in the summertime. So I think it's going to remain one of my favorites of the year, definitely.
Yes, thank you. It's definitely warm weather music, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, folks may know you as the drummer and singer and songwriter of Durand Jones and the Indications, and this is your first solo album. How did you end up deciding to make a solo record?
Basically, I got a call from Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys while I was frying some plantains, making some dinner, and he was just like, I heard your music. I love your falsetto. I wanted to make a record like in this falsetto style for a while, and I think you're the person to do it. So I said, hell yeah.
First of all, how does Dan Auerbach get your phone number? Is there like an artist phone directory that you get?
I thought the station had the directory as well. No, I'm sure. I think it was, management to management maybe passed along the number, and I had heard from my people that he was enjoying my music, but a lot of times stuff like that, and I'm sure for somebody like Dan who's super busy and has all the stuff going on, that stuff generally moves a lot slower. But it was that same night that I had heard that he had been enjoying my music that I got a call from like a Akron, Ohio phone number, and it was Dan.
Wow, that's so cool. What a high compliment too. So when did this recording process happen? Was this recently or was it a couple years ago? When did this happen?
So see, we wrote this record over the course of 4 days. Not this past November, but the November before. And then we recorded it in January 2020. So
Gotcha.
Just a couple
Okay.
months later.
Wow. Did you have any of these songs locked and loaded before you went into the studio?
I have there are a handful of songs on the record that were written right there in the room, and then there's another handful that I had in different stages of completion, whether it was lyrical scraps or a vocal idea or like a chord progression. But we wound up completing all the songs there at Easy Eye Studios in Nashville.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. 4 days and you make this brilliant record. So I'd love to get into a song from the new record. You were kind enough to record some amazing live performance video for us. First of all, before we play this first song, where did you record this session for us?
So all these performances are recorded at the Jalopy Theater in Red Hook, which is in Southwest Brooklyn. It's such a special place for me and for the city. It's a place where the folk history, music history of New York kind of got priced out of the East Village, and where it moved was into Red Hook, into a place like the Jalopy. So it houses folk musicians from all over the world and all over the city. It's a beautifully intimate venue, and it's one of my favorite places in the world.
And it's such a beautiful performance video. Let's watch it now. This is the song Bad News from Aaron Frazer's new solo album, Introducing, here live on KEXP at home.
Take much more. So I'm on fire, I'm burning, I can barely keep it turning. If I left you, what would you do? All I know is there'd be bad news, there'd be bad news.
That was Bad News live on KEXP at home from Aaron Frazer from the new album Introducing that just came out last month in January of 2021. Oh my God, I cannot believe that song got better than the version on the album. You did it with strings. Oh my gosh, that string quartet just that song is amazing in that version.
Thank you so
How did you
much.
decide to do that arrangement?
I just had this vision of like just like me with a string quartet and doing like one of the things I love about honestly about like KEXP sessions and is like it's not always exactly what's on the record, and I just wanted to do something a little different with these songs. So those are everybody you see in these videos are all like dear friends of mine and collaborators that I've had in New York over the years. I don't know, there's something really mournful maybe about the song, and I think there's something equally mournful sometimes with a string quartet.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's gorgeous. That is such an amazing version of that song. Can you tell us a little bit about the story behind the song Bad News? What is that song about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so that it was written pre-pandemic, um, but and it's inspired by climate change, and it's supposed to almost be read, from the perspective of Mother Earth, being like, I'm on fire, I can barely keep it turning. But as time has gone on, it sort of has just sort of like summed up what I've been feeling, and I know a lot of people have been feeling over the past year of just like, we're just trying to put one foot in front of the other, and just this constant barrage of like, of just grim realities. Yeah, and just trying to make it through.
Yeah, that song really resonates right now for sure. It's so trippy to think that it was made a couple of years ago at this point. You know what that song reminds me of? It's like our generation's version of Mercy, Mercy Me. I don't know if you were thinking about that song.
That's awesome. I mean, that's an honor to even be put in the same conversation with a song like that. It wasn't on my mind, but people like that, people like Gil Scott-Heron, Curtis Mayfield. I mean, I owe everything to artists like that. So I just try to do right, with that sound.
Yeah, so beautiful. I was seeing on your social media that you were doing a little spotlight of environmental organizations along with Sierra Club for a campaign called Good News, Bad News. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks for asking about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, being that this song was inspired by climate change, I wanted to bring attention to it, and it's like I'm not somebody who believes that every single artist has to, use their platform nonstop to talk about like political stuff. But for me, I do feel like there's absolutely room in my life and my music, and a responsibility in my life and my music to address that stuff. So yeah, I partnered with the Sierra Club, which is a really big environmental conservation group, protection group, to basically highlight frontline groups, which are groups that will be most immediately affected by climate change. And not only that, they are frontline groups and they'll be affected first, but also what a lot of these groups are doing to combat climate change. And it's a lot of amazing stuff. It's like, there's politics and legislation, but there's also, urban farming and green job training and all this amazing stuff that's happening. And, while the song is called Bad News, I do think is important to also like show people that there are like good things happening and changes are happening, and people are doing inspiring things every day.
Yeah, I feel like this time is a time of great opportunity, right? Like you could think about it from a different perspective where if we do a good job of educating people and letting people know what the opportunities are for green energy, for different jobs that can be created that can also help the world, I think is fantastic work. So thank you for amplifying that message. That's so awesome. I'm DJ Morgan from KEXP talking to Aaron Frazer, just released his new solo album, Introducing. Let's get to a couple of more songs from these live performance sessions that you recorded for us. We're going to hear the song Have Mercy, and then we'll go right into If I Got It. I'd love to hear about the story behind Have Mercy first. What is that song about?
Have Mercy is pretty autobiographical. It's the story of me meeting my my partner, and just the like the realization of like, wow, this person is I found somebody so special, but then the fear that comes with that of like, I don't want to mess it up. Yeah.
That's very relatable. This is the song Have Mercy from Aaron Frazer live on KEXP at Home.
Didn't know a thing about you, but I knew enough to know if I was gonna be around you, it'd be too hard for me to take it slow. Well, my heart started racing and I took the place of your shadow. When I knew nothing else mattered. Ooh, have mercy. Ooh, don't hurt me. Never been afraid of falling, but I never been so high before. And I just wanna praise you, darling, for giving your love to me and so much more. You see me for the one that I am when the others are blind. If you leave me, believe me, I still wouldn't treat you unkind. So I'm asking, baby, ooh, have mercy. Get me on my knees singing, ooh, don't hurt me. Don't you hurt me, baby, ooh, have mercy. Don't you hurt me, baby, ooh, don't hurt me. You see me for the
and Frazer live on KEXP at home. That was the song If I Got It from the new album Introducing, and before that, the song Have Mercy. So you mentioned that these live performance videos are recorded in the Jalopy Theater. It looks like maybe you moved around to different rooms. Can you tell us where those particular locations in that building were for those songs?
Yeah, absolutely. So and that's the cool thing about the Jalopy Theater and the Jalopy Tavern, which are basically two kind of shotgun style, very narrow, long buildings. The Jalopy Theater, I should mention, has now, I think, split because they become a nonprofit, so they don't also have a tavern, I think, for legal reasons. But let's see. So Have Mercy was done in the Jalopy Theater with the curtains drawn. Normally, there's a bunch of old church pews that they put in there, and I think that's part of what gives that venue such intimacy and such I don't know, this quiet power. It's one of the quietest stages I've ever played on, which is rare anywhere, but especially in New York. Anyway, that was, I think, the last video we did, and I was feeling just a little loose, and I had just found this I don't know, owl statue that was there, and between the red lights and the red curtain and the owl, I was just this is really David, this is Lynchian, David Lynch, Twin Peaks,
Totally.
energy. I feel like I'm talking to the right person for this.
Oh, definitely.
And and we just it just kind of came together as this weird loungy thing, where our percussion player Chauncey, it's just him and Colin, the keyboard player, and it just became this vibe. I love how it turned out.
I feel like I should tell you, I am a huge David Lynch fan, huge Twin Peaks fan. I actually have a guest room in my house that is completely Twin Peaks themed. My husband
Wow.
actually painted the chevron floor, but on the ceiling of my room.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and it was Twin Peaks Day just 2 days ago.
I saw
happy
that.
Twin
I
Peaks
saw
Day.
that. Yeah, I have a One-Eyed Jack's magnet on my fridge.
Yes,
That's my Twin Peaks pride.
that's awesome. And then the song we heard after that was If I Got It. Can you tell us a little bit about that song? What's that one about?
Yeah, so I was in the DMV in Sacramento, which is I don't drive in I don't have a Sacramento license, but my partner's dad had to go in, and we were going with him. So it was at the commercial vehicles desk. So it had a bunch of toy trucks on the wall behind the desk, and at the top of the wall there was a slogan, a banner, which was a Teamsters, a truckers union slogan from the 50s, Jimmy Hoffa era, that said, if you got it, a truck brought it. And I was just I don't know, there's something about that line that just sparkled to me. And so I wrote it down in my phone, and then just sort of sat with it, personalized it. If I got it, then what? Then your love brought it. And I think as soon as I had that concept, that sort of central thesis, the whole song came together in an hour. So I love that one.
Slogan from a DMB. That's awesome. And every song that we've seen so far, I think, has different players in it, a different, at least, orientation of players. So this one had a couple of horn players. Mm-hmm. Are those your buddies too?
They are. Yeah, that's Jackie Coleman, Lynn Legamari, who we have traveled the world together playing in Duran Jones and the Indications.
That's awesome. So I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the recording process for this record with Dan Auerbach at his studio was such a short period of time. And I know, obviously, you sing songs with Duran Jones and the Indications, but had you done much singing before and really embraced that falsetto voice that is just so lovely? You're so great at that. And it's it's really, really amplified in this new album. I'm just curious how you felt about recording this full album with your voice.
It's definitely a scary thing, because one of the blessings, I think, of playing in a band like Duran Jones and the Indications and being a split lead vocalist is that even though it's kind of more of a classic approach, like the Temptations and the Larks and the Moments and the Whatnots, these 70s like vocal groups, it actually meets this current moment of how we listen to music really like cleanly, because people listen on shuffle and they don't listen to the same timbre, the same voice for like an hour. So splitting leads from song to song and even within the same song, I actually think is like this really useful tool that we just happened upon. So with this, it is, it was a bit of a scary undertaking, but I also tried to bring a couple new tools to the table, like try to incorporate some of my lower range, just so you're giving people a little bit of variation however you can. But yeah, it was a great challenge. It was fun.
That's so interesting, to that perspective of people are listening to things in playlists. I didn't really think about that before, because you listen to an album and you think about the fact that it's all put together very specifically in an order, and you're meant to listen to it all together. So having that juxtaposition of being able to split the songs up too to match different vibes, that's really interesting. I like that.
But on this record, I guess another way I tried to bring that variation was to like bring in more of my musical influences that I don't always kind of put on the forefront with the indications. Like, I love hip hop, and I have a song on there called "Can't Leave It Alone" that is like very much like in the spirit of like mid 2000s like hip hop in this moment when a lot of people were using marching bands and stuff like that. Or like country music is so important to me. Lee Hazelwood has like been a compass to me for songwriting and production and string arranging for years. And like the last song on my record, "Leaning on Your Everlasting Love," is like definitely more of a country song, and there's like country DNA in the song construction, and 90s R&B. Like, yeah, so I try to just, knowing that sometimes these songs will just find their own worlds wherever they're supposed to be. I wasn't worried too much about like, oh, it has to be all soul music or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can totally hear that mid 2000s song, especially with Dan Auerbach's influence when he worked with Black Rock. It really reminds me of that on that particular song.
Totally. And I mean, that was part of the reason I feel like Dan and I were able to work together really seamlessly, is like, I got really into blues, and particularly like North Mississippi Hill Country blues when I was like in high school. And obviously like Junior Kimbrough and R.L. Burnside were like part of the genesis of the Black Keys. In college I played in like a rock and roll band that was definitely like in that White Stripes, like Black Keys vein, with all the original indications actually, before we met Duran. Hip hop is super important to me. He did the Black Rock Project. I was doing soul music. He covered Jerry Butler on Brothers. It's like, we had all of these musical connections, I feel like, in our listening journeys that when we got in the same room, it felt like it was meant to be.
That's amazing. That's so cool, the chemistry. I'm really curious about how did all of the players on the record who were recording with you, how were those people sourced? I know you were working with a couple of older legends. Like, tell me about all the people that you worked with.
Oh man, yeah, it was really, really cool. So Dan, put together the backing band, and I think he did an amazing job of sort of like understanding like who I am and the sort of like multi-dimensional music fan that I am, and so the band reflected that, like, at the core of it, directly to my left when I was looking out from the drum set, I was drumming on this whole record, was Nick Mavshan on bass. So Nick, a lot of people would know from playing bass on Amy Winehouse's Back to Black record as part of the Dap Kings. So played with Sharon, played with Charles, like, and then founded, Big Crown Records with Leon Michaels, who is actually playing flute on Bad News. But so Nick, having somebody there like in my rhythm section who understands the soul vocabulary, particularly as it sort of is filtered through like sampled hip hop, was so crucial. One of the older players that was in there, his name is Bobby Wood, who's just like an insanely prolific session musician, part of like a studio band like the MGs, called the Memphis Boys, who played on stuff like Son of a Preacher Man, or Aretha's You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, and just had so many great stories about being in the studio with, different people. And then there are also, people who are closer to my age. There's a keyboard player named Ray Hasildo, who plays with JD McPherson, and Junior Thomas and the Volcanoes also. They're a great reggae band, who understands country, but if I was like, Ray, it's got to be Wu-Tang, like it's got to be RZA, he gets that. And so to have a place, I've been thinking about it more lately, like to have a place where people across generations come to not just not just find an understanding, but to actually like collaborate, is really special. Like you just don't really see it, and so it was a very special experience in that regard.
That sounds like an amazing time and just a killer lineup of people. That's
So
cool.
good, yeah.
I'm really curious about your musical background. When did you figure out you're a musician? Or did you play when you were a kid? Did you have a musical family?
So no, I mean, I don't have a musical family at all, actually. But I do have a family that loves music. So I guess they're musical in that way, and like,
music appreciators.
Yes, and great listeners, and like, one of my earliest memories is definitely like Tapestry by Carole King, on the turntable.
That's literally on my turntable right now.
it's probably my favorite record of all time. Either that or like maybe the Curtis self-titled. Yeah, I mean, and just celebrated 50 years a couple days ago.
That's right.
But my dad, was definitely the type, and it still is the type of dude to like put on a record and then like pause it and be like, no, listen to how like the intro is or the drums are, and then like restart it. And I do think that can shape you as a music listener. But I first realized that I wanted to play the drums in like, I'm not sure what year Jules Standing Still came out, but for some reason that song just like lit my brain up when I was 9. I guess I was 9 years old. And I don't know if you remember that song, but it's like,
was that like 97?
Does that sound right? That's probably right. Yeah.
You and I are exactly the same age then.
And I just remember like it has a very drum heavy pre-chorus that's just like, and like I would drum to it on the car minivan door every time it came on. And my mom, thankfully, rather than being like, stop hitting my car, was like, saw there was some sort of intuitive connection to rhythm happening, and asked me, if I wanted to learn how to play the drums, and that's how I started.
Wow, cool.
Thanks,
like,
Jewel.
Hell yes. Yeah, thanks, Jewel. That's amazing. So then when you went to college, that's where you all formed Duran Jones and the Indications, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And like, so all 4 of the original Indications, we all met in the audio engineering program. So yeah, learning how to record music, but also, again, how to like further that approach of like deep listening and articulating what you're hearing or what you want to be hearing.
Mm-hmm. I read that after college you went and did some archival recording of old blues music in the South. Please tell me about that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, that was that was a little while ago now. That was 2012. I went to North Mississippi Hill Country just to see what was happening there, and if the music that was really important and formative for me was still happening. And I was excited to find that there were still pockets in Clarksdale, in Como, which I don't know if the Como Mamas, I don't know if they ever made an appearance on KEXP, but they somebody from Daptone actually came across them. In Pontotoc, in Duncan, just these little cities. And I got about like 10 hours worth of interviews and songs. I haven't done anything with it, so hopefully at some point people will be able to hear that and enjoy that.
Yeah. And were those songs like new originals, or were they traditionals that were not yet recorded? Because I know that that's a thing, especially in the South in America, is like they're passed down through generations and maybe not necessarily recorded or attributed to a specific person because they've been passed down for so long.
Right. Yeah, there's a little bit of each. There was R.L. Boyce in Como, Mississippi, who was doing Poor Black Maddie, which is like a really old one. Or I was in, I guess, just on the edge of Arkansas with David, with Junior Kimbrough's son, David, who was playing, his own compositions. So yeah, it's a mix. It's a mix, and it's a special part of the country.
Cool. Hey, Smithsonian Folkways, hit up Aaron Frazer.
I'm out here.
Yeah. All right. I'm DJ Morgan from KEXP talking to Aaron Frazer. His new solo album is called Introducing. Let's get to another song. This one is called Love Is, and then we'll come back and talk. It's Aaron Frazer live on KEXP at home.
Love is what you make it. Love is ain't no way to fake it. Our hearts, they were made for breaking. Love is anything we make it. There we stood with the edge of the sun at our backs making shadow. With my heart in my pocket and your grandma's locket in your hand. You and me, we could see everything way beyond the horizon. Then the words started falling from her lips and they helped me understand. She said, love is what you make it. Love is ain't no way to fake it. Oh, our hearts, they were made for breaking. Love is anything we make it. With the sun like an orange in the sky, so ripe that we could taste it. In the leaves on their branches singing songs, just dancing in the wind. There we stood at the end of the road we've been walking on forever. Rocky roads come together and they make us better in the end. So we say, love is what you make it. Love is, are you giving or taking? Oh, our hearts, they were made
That was Love Is live on KEXP at Home from Aaron Frazer. What is that song about?
Love is basically about this strange moment at the end of a relationship where you're kind of standing at this weird psychedelic like crossroads of just like where you've been and where you're going, and just feeling like these lines just sort of like, I don't know, just connect and then split, and sometimes it's for a brief moment and sometimes it's for a longer stretch of time, and it's like what it means to have that time together, and like is it just as meaningful to have a relationship that's not a lifelong thing, but it's, you know, but you've given each other some things and learned some things, and
Yeah. Interesting. Every relationship is different and offers a little nugget in your life, whether it's for a long time or not. I like that.
Yeah.
So the new album, Introducing, is out now. Highly recommend picking that up. And I saw last week, Duran Jones and the Indications, you all released a song that came out a couple years ago, but a reworked version with one of our favorite Pacific Northwest artists, Ila Bamba, Cruising to the Park. Please tell me about that. And how did you end up working with her?
Ila Bamba is such a great band. Luz is such a great singer. All of those, every single band member is such an amazing player and such sweet people. We met them touring together. They were opening for us on our last national tour that we did right before, that ended March 12th, basically with us in Chicago, not being sure if we were going to go on or not because everything, you know, with COVID was shutting down. But that was like easily one of my favorite runs we've ever done, and in large part to having Ila Bamba kicking off the show every night. And we knew, like, you know, when you tour, you travel and you meet so many people, and being on the road is just such a, like, I don't know, just specific way of life that when you meet some people who are also living that life, who just sort of fit so well with you, it's really special. So we became really fast friends, and we knew we wanted to figure out a way to collaborate. We also have a really large, like, Spanish speaking fan base that we weren't like seeking out. It's just sort of happened really, really naturally, and they've been so welcoming, you know, to us in those communities. And so we wanted to figure out a way to like honor that and try to do it, you know, in a respectful way. And so all those things came together, and we were just like, we got to get Luz. And she absolutely knocked it out of the park. Her voice is so beautiful on the reworking.
It is gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah, and I just want to also give a shout out to the person who translated the lyrics, Miriam El Hajli, who is a Brooklyn musician, fantastic. She sounds like Joni Mitchell. Translating lyrics is just, it really blows my mind, because it's like, not only do you have to preserve the meaning, you know, and the nuance of the language, but still make it rhyme in a whole nother language. So it's just like unbelievable. So yeah, I'm really psyched about it.
Oh, that's awesome. And speaking of touring, I know it's hard to know what the future holds and when you can get back out on touring, but when you are able to, do you think you will tour on your solo record, or is it just too hard to tell because you might have another Duran Jones and the Indications album to tour on?
Oh God, yeah, they're both coming. Yeah. It'll be a lot, but I would love to hit the road and play some shows on this record, and maybe get creative in some of the ways that you know, that people will have seen today. To be a little playful with the orchestration and the instrumentation. Maybe keep it light, you know, maybe fit in a sedan, you know, because I don't really know what touring's gonna look like. But yeah, I'll definitely hit the road, and then I'll also be hitting the road hard with the Indications as soon as we can.
Maybe you could open for yourself.
Oh my God.
Like, that sounds exhausting.
It's like we all are like, no, it makes sense on paper, and it would be like an absolute nightmare to try to do like 3 hours every night and tour. Yeah, I don't know. I love the idea. I love the spirit of it.
Yeah, totally. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
DJ Morgan from KEXP talking to Aaron Frazer. We have one more song to get to from the live performances videos, and this one is so good. I cannot wait for everyone to see this. It is the song Over You, one of my favorite songs on the record. Huge band in this. What room in the theater are you in? Please set this up.
So this is back. This is back in the theater side. It's actually like the same places we shot the Have Mercy. It's just with the lights on, with sunlight coming through the sunroof up top. I wanted to do a configuration with strings. I wanted to do a configuration with all the folk people that I knew that I've collaborated with over the years. I wanted to do like something that's a little more like a touring band version, and then I wanted to do one where everybody came together and it was like the album version. Like if there are strings, there are gonna be strings. If there's horns, whatever. So it's everybody together, and it's like it's a crazy romp. I love how it turned out.
And you're on drums and singing at the same time. Let's check it out.
That's right.
This is Over You from Aaron Frazer live on KEXP at home.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Over You. That version is so good. I love it. That was an amazing live performance. It's Aaron Frazer live on KEXP at home playing Over You from the excellent new solo album called Introducing that just came out last month in January of 2021. Aaron Frazer, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for these amazing performance videos. I cannot thank you enough for your time. Thank you.
Morgan, it's been a pleasure. I love KEXP. I love the station so much. So it's an honor for real. Thank you.
We are huge fans. Go pick up the new album Introducing. Be on the lookout for a new album coming out, this year from Duran Jones and the Indications? Can you say?
I don't know how much I can say.
Fair enough.
We're wrapping it up.
Fair enough. We'll keep a lookout from that, and hopefully we will see you for some sort of live performance, virtual or otherwise, when that record comes out. Thank you again.
Appreciate it.
And thank you all for tuning in. We have more live streams coming up. Be sure to check out our virtual events calendar. You can find that on our website at kexp.org. And through all of this, we're keeping the music discovery coming to you through our worldwide stream and broadcast at 90.3 FM at KEXP.org and on our mobile apps. And all of these in-studio sessions get posted on our YouTube channel. So you can find out more there and all of the stories behind the music and much more at our website, KEXP.org. And again, thank you so much for supporting listener-powered independent KEXP. We'll see you next time. It's live on KEXP at Home. Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.